Well, I went to the Heat game by myself. Boston game 3.
He's doing that shit all the time.
I don't care. But I've never been to a sports game by myself.
Right.
I go to movies by myself all the time.
Right.
But sports game, that's
Really? I feel like that's something that you would have done.
I mean,
You don't care.
but in New York, I go with friends.
What's your band or what's your
my band? Like classic
really have
rock.
it? Okay.
My first concert was Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell, 1994 at the Garden.
Yeah, Michael has speakers on his jet ski, and whenever he's driving by, you hear like "Sweet Home Alabama."
Oh my God.
It's a little before his time.
I have the earliest Bruce Springsteen ticket anyone's had. It's him performing in a parking garage in 1970 for $2.50. It's a great ticket.
Perfect. All right, we actually have a birthday here, and I know it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
You told
Amazing.
us that.
Celebrating now?
You told us that you were looking for donuts last week.
Oh wow! Look at
Thank you,
that.
Tucker.
That's amazing.
Can we sing a little?
Happy birthday.
There's no candle. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
Wait.
to you.
Hold on, I'll open it for you.
Happy birthday, dear Nicole. Happy birthday.
Wow, you really pulled this
to
off.
you.
Box.
Are you?
You can't open the box.
I love Krispy Kreme. What are you doing here?
doing?
You okay?
No, I think
He doesn't know how to open
think
it.
that's how you-
It's gonna fall all on the floor.
Give me
You
this.
ruined
Hold
Give me
on.
these donuts.
Oh my God! Now
Wait,
that's
is that how
serial
you
killer.
open it?
You can't
Absolutely.
do that.
Yes.
That's not how you
That's
open
not how
it.
you
That's
open
how you
it.
open a
That's
donut
how-
box.
You're gonna spill donuts
That's
on
how
me.
John Wayne Gacy
All right, hold on.
opens it.
I want the first donut.
You
Thank
get whatever
very
you
much.
want.
This box is gonna be worth money someday for Nicole's
Nicole, are you 18?
25th birthday.
All
I
right.
wish.
Happy birthday. Is it good?
Yeah.
I mean,
I love
these are
Krispy Kreme.
me too.
You're a big Krispy
Have one.
Kreme.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody have a donut.
I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna have one after
I
we
gotta
tape.
try to make one final phone call before we start.
I'm
Go
most
ahead.
certainly having a pre-podcast donut.
I
Is
love
it good?
a free podcast donut.
Oh,
So good.
dude.
We could do without the sound effects.
No, I have this once a year.
I can't stand these people.
All right, you gonna be okay?
Yeah, if they, I just need to say because we got to start. Okay, can't on hold forever. They say it's coming today.
Darren's vault door.
Okay, let's go.
This is the first time the guest has started the show. Darren says, "Let's go."
Let's
That's
start.
it.
It's the 100th show.
Let's go. All right. All right, John. What show is this?
Oh, we were waiting for this one for a little while now, Josh. How about Friends, episode 100?
Today's show is brought to you by Public Dunkin'. I'm wearing a t-shirt and I am staring down. I can't see what it says. What does it say?
It says stars, stripes, and yield.
There we go. Star Stripes and Yield. Independence Day. Best holiday there is. It is my intention to buy treasuries, and I'm going to do it in public. There. I said it. I'm going to do it. Right now, it's Thursday, July 6th, and I've seen the 2-year at 4.98%. Got as high as, I mean, it's high. That is a high rate of return. 4.98% for 2-year. If you want to learn more about how you can open up an account with Public, buy treasuries issued from the great United States of America, do your part, be a patriot, it is public.com/compound. There you have it, public.com/compound.
Episode 100.
Nicole's jumping.
Nicole's going nuts. Happy birthday, Nicole. She's on a sugar high. Darren Rovell is here. So exciting. All right, who's in the house? Rob is here. Tucker is here. Duncan and John are controlling the screen and the cameras and the audio. Michael Batnick, my co-host, as always. I am here. I'm your host, Downtown Josh Brown. And we are here with our special 100th episode guest, Mr. Darren Rovell. Darren, say hello to everyone.
I'm honored.
All right. We're so happy to have you here today. It's a big show. I only told you the middle of the week. It's our 100th show. And you pulled out all the stops from what I saw in your bag of tricks. So
I got a bag.
all right. Pretty excited to get into that stuff. Let me give you a proper introduction. Bear with me one moment. So most people in our audience probably know you from your days at CNBC. This is
Right.
the official intro we have for you, but then you can elaborate. Darren Rovell is a sports business analyst for the Action Network. He currently focuses on the stories happening in the business of sports betting. Darren is also the author of First and Thirst, which won an Emmy, right? Or did that win an Emmy?
30 best business books of 2005.
Is that right? And that's the
And
Gatorade story.
And then I did win an Emmy, but the Emmy was a little cheap. We'll talk about that.
The
later.
Emmy was swoosh inside Nike.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the show, Darren. We're so happy to have you. Are you excited for this?
Super excited.
This is like all in your wheelhouse.
I think this is my idea.
This is all in your wheelhouse. All right. So you and I first met. You were reporting for CNBC Sports Business.
I was at ESPN from 2000 to 2006.
Okay.
ESPN hired me at 22.
Dream job.
Dream job.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Wait, how'd you pull that off?
So it started when I was 10, and I knew faster than all my friends that I sucked at sports but loved them so much. So I knew right away I wasn't going to be a pro player.
Okay.
So I started to do journalism. I had a magazine that I sold for $1 at lunch and all the things going on.
That's like Dave from Barstool.
And then by the time it got to like my bar mitzvah, I was the first person at someone else's bar mitzvah to take the Fortune cover that all the dads posed with and posed with a bat because I love the business side of sports.
Okay.
And if you look at Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, he talks about how Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were born in the same year, and the reason why that's perfect is because computers were there for the first year in the library. That's the first year you could tinker with computers when they're first year in college. For me, the dream of covering sports business corresponds to that exact timeline. When I was 13, that's when anchors
1991.
that's when anchors started to say what someone made when they reported who this player was just signed. He made $1.7 million.
Stuart Scott,
Back then it was Dan Patrick
Berman.
and Berman and Oberman.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden people cared about money. And what was weird is fans took it as if it was their money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I started to think about that and how no one covered it. And then by the time, I got to college, there was Sports Business Daily, which was like an inside trade publication, and then Sports Business Journal. And I was thinking to myself, well, how do I not toil in the markets, in the small markets as a journalist and be relevant right away? So that was my plan. And I think like kind of through watching my dad was a niche guy. So he was one of the few guys who had a PhD in biophysics and biochemistry and had a marketing degree.
Okay, that's got to be pretty rare.
In all of when you think about big pharma, there's many times where the scientists are not talking to the marketers, and that's billions of dollars of mistakes on timing and everything else. So he started Jeffrey Rovell and Associates and got 7 guys like him who had the medical degree and the marketing degree, and everyone had to hire him. So like I understood there the importance of being the best in the world at something even so small. But then I realized like, oh, people want to hear about the business of sports. Like in the beginning, like maybe not. Like, what are you doing? I'm watching Tiger. I don't want to see like how much he makes when he sinks that putt.
Yeah.
And so I had a sports business radio show, the only one in the country when I was at Northwestern, and I got everyone. Like everyone. Like the Green Bay Packers fire Ray Rhodes as an African-American coach. The next day, I'm on the horn with Jesse Jackson. I'm getting team presidents, CEOs. Why? No one's talking to them.
Yeah.
Athletes don't want to talk to you. These guys want to talk.
We take it for granted. My kid is 14 years old. He could tell you what everybody in the NBA makes.
Of course.
Their contracts, how many years.
Which is wild because in 90, I've just seen this all go through, and it's wild. So I went to ESPN. ESPN came to Northwestern. They're looking to hire an intern. I said, I'm going to cover the business of sports for you. Luckily, it wasn't you talk about the moments of luck that you have in your life. Like it wasn't an HR person. If it were an HR person and it wasn't an executive, the HR person would say, we're not here to hire for that job. But it was a guy who said, okay. And I'm like, why do you guys allow AP and Reuters to write your stories on the front page? when you don't allow anyone but Peter Gammons to write baseball. Why? Because you're the worldwide leader in sports, God damn it. And that means you have to be the worldwide leader in sports business. And he's like, why you? I'm like, because I've read every book. I can tell you what happened in the 60s, 70s before I was born.
You were ready for this
and
moment.
I'm ready. And there was one more thing that made it the difference, which is in 2000, like that, you got to understand, that's where like the internet's coming up, and it totally flips the hierarchy of we need an old person to start a job. Like we can't, at ESPN, we can't allow a 21-year-old kid to cover something.
Yeah.
But the internet, even though I wasn't a tech geek, the internet flipped the hierarchy of young kids are cool. Yeah. And so that allowed me also to get the job. So for 6 years, I am and it's a little bit longer than you wanted, but for 6 years, I am the geek at the sports network.
When did they start putting you on the air? You were writing for them
I was
first.
writing for ESPN.com. I was on the air within a year.
Okay.
Dale Earnhardt died and how big NASCAR was. And I remember I'm sitting on SportsCenter set with Kenny Mayne, and I'm like, God, this is crazy. I'm 22. I'm like, God, this is crazy.
Was your family or were your friends like, wait, Darren's on TV?
Yeah, but they always thought I would be on. They always thought I'd be at ESPN just because since I was 10, like that guy was networking when he was 7. You know, so like I wouldn't say that people like didn't think, but yes, I mean it was surreal for me and for them, and so I did that for 6 years, and then
how did you get to CNBC?
I got in a fight with so Jonathan Wald.
Shout out to Jonathan
on the Money Tonight.
Dylan,
he had me on a show, and I got in a fight with Dylan Ratigan about how he was wrong, and it was very, very contentious.
Over what?
You can't win a fight. You can't win a fight with
it was
Dylan
over
Ratigan,
I know, it was a curling.
Okay.
And what are you doing? And and he's like, man, I love you. He's like, we need to get the volume up on CNBC. Everyone's listening with the volume off. We got to have someone covering the business of sports. We want someone who'd be like, oh, let's turn it up. Let's turn it up. And, credit to him. I think it worked out well, and luckily it was at the time where it could happen. If I was hired in 2016, where every time you have to have the president, anytime you have to take the president, I would have never been able to get the things I got done, the fun stuff I got done. It was the perfect time. The Beijing Olympics, the Vancouver Olympics, two like of the best.
And you were sent to all of these events.
Sent to, I basically said,
Bowls.
I want to go here, I want to go there, and pretty much got on the air every time except when we went to the Masters. I said, let's rent out a Masters house and show the business of what it's like to have at the Masters. Okay. So I'm in my pajamas. I'm a jokester. I'm in my pajamas. I have like the sleeping hat. I'm going to do like a hit while cooking an egg. And they say in my ear, they're like, yeah, I don't think you're going to be on air today. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, Immelt just announced the first losing quarter for GE in 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Mr. Rovell, enjoy your egg.
I enjoy your place. Yeah.
They don't use the term bumped, but that's a bumping.
Bumped.
So, Darren, you cover the business of sports, but the business of sports business is a business. And ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports still, but they're going through it right now. They have been for a while.
I think what, I always wanted to be a reporter instead of being an anchor, because if you're reading the prompter, you're just, it's very hard to have longevity if you're reading the prompter. So I always thought those jobs were tough. But in the last 5 to 6 years, you have to be a personality. And I love the people who I worked with who got let go, but it's hard to argue, potentially Pat McAfee is worth 20 of them. That's how it works today. People go and invest and listen to personalities.
So, what about Van Gundy?
Jeff and Jalen Rose.
So is JJ coming to replace him?
It's hard. It's really hard. I think it's really hard to think about that they have to cut those guys when it's Disney. Like can't you cut garbage cleaning for
Unless
one
there's
day?
stuff
It's
behind the scenes that everyone is not aware of.
And it allows you to do something. But that's a lot of people. There is brand attrition when you do things. I mean, one of the weirdest things I think in business today is like people who make decisions or decisions that are made and they think that the brand, there's no impact on the brand. It's like White Claw all of a sudden is like, no, we don't have that malt stuff anymore. Now we have vodka. And they think that people are automatically going to buy the vodka. No, you serve me crap.
Right.
So
How fast does like TNT call Jeff Gundy after Jeff Van Gundy after something
yeah.
like that?
I mean, if
Because
I
he's
mean,
a known quantity.
he's a
for
known quantity,
fans.
and he's a curmudgeon. He like needles into the side of the NBA, which as a fan
great.
is a fun thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not like under the umbrella. Like he'll say something on fouls that he knows that Adam Silver is going to get pissed at him for.
Right.
you
Disney
know?
stock's at a 52-week low right now. One of the key issues, there are many issues right now, but one of the key issues is, what do you do with ESPN? Is it a standalone company? Can the app be a standalone app? Is that a business? What's your latest thinking on what they should do?
I mean,
with that?
if you spin it out, there's no debate that the brand, the tentacles that you can build it's not good. Like I remember, hey, yeah, no brainer. ESPN the phone, ESPN the ESPN zones. Like I think the brand is as bad as it's ever been.
Yeah.
So it's hard to then say, oh, spin off, because once you say spin off, you're like, oh, look at all the things that we can build around it. I
you
think
lose those ties with
Yeah.
Disney
Well,
at the same time.
Like millions of other people, I grew up religiously watching SportsCenter, and it's probably been 20 years because I don't need to see the highlights at 11 o'clock. You see them on your phone. On Twitter.
Someone, I will admit this, someone got fired last week, and she said she was a SportsCenter anchor for 4 years, and I didn't know who she was.
Yeah. That's probably common now.
Yeah.
Is that your door? Take
I don't know. Let's see if this is my
the call.
door. Hello? Hey, how are you? Can I call you back? Okay. Not my door.
I'm in the middle of a podcast, sir. All right. I want to do a little bit of market stuff, Darren.
Okay.
And then we'll get into all things Darren Rovell. But we just finished the first half of the year. How closely do you follow stocks or I know
In
you
general,
follow the economy.
I have CNBC in the background every day.
All right, so you get a lot of me. Did you know it's been the best first half start for the S&P 500 since 2019?
No.
4 whole years ago.
All right. So let's just go through this. This is from Savita Subramanian from Bank of America. And she put out something this weekend, just wrapping up what happened in the first half.
Savita's like the Stephen A for sell side.
She's more stats.
No, she's not Stephen A at all.
So she basically said everyone was bearish, everything rallied. And every major asset class went up this year except for commodities, which I actually didn't know. And I just want to pull a couple of things out of here. So the S&P 500 finished the first half up 6.6% in June, total return. Year to date, up 16.9%. Again, best first half in 4 years. What's notable about that is this is a year where pretty much everyone went into it bearish. Like, how good could things possibly be?
Right.
Because of this, because of this, because of this. And the standout thing that happened that drove that was the consumer. And I would imagine in your businesses, you must see a lot of that consumer strength. Today, we got an ADP report saying in June alone, the U.S. economy added 500,000 private sector jobs. Is that surprising to you?
Yes, because there's so much. Because the discourse is so negative. Yes, absolutely.
All over the place.
Negative. That's why it's so shocking. People are complaining. The people who have the loudest voices are yelling. And yes, that's why it's shocking.
Darren,
yes.
if the only throughput you had to the broader economy was through your business, how would you describe the state of the world? Again, only through sports betting, collectibles, that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the right places, and that's why you have to like invest in the right places, like anything. I mean, it's on fire. It's on fire.
Yeah, anything that people can do in their free time is on fire.
And I'll hit this, but like collectibles, especially because if there is something you can make money in and enjoy it along the way, like what's better than that?
Yeah. And that's that economy you would have thought would have reversed itself after 2020 and 2021.
People felt comfort in COVID. You can go back to they had so much comfort. Maybe it was too much
Nostalgia.
comfort. Maybe yes, nostalgia is. I mean, that was I had like 30 packages a day of eBay because it was the only way I could keep myself. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Please don't use the eBay tape on the packages."
Right. This year, so if it. One other thing worth pointing out, it's changed somewhat recently, but in the first half, the breadth, the amount of stocks working was relatively small. So even though you had a great return in the market, only 25% of stocks ended up outperforming the S&P 500, which is historic. It's never happened. and think about, like, everyone knows which stocks those are. There's nobody that's like wondering, well, which would those be? It's Apple, Microsoft.
It's the big guys.
It's the big guys.
Yeah,
It's everyone that you would expect. And from that standpoint, it's actually a pretty intuitive year where, just in terms of like what's working.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Okay. So I've been covering Life Wallet, which is that's like the name of the name, image, and likeness guy from Miami.
Okay.
Who essentially he's a Miami guy. He puts these kids on, they're endorsing Life Wallet.
Right. So he's an entrepreneur and he's buying college athletes.
Right.
Okay.
It hit an all-time low today. Basically, it's LIFW. Okay.
Let's take a look.
It was a SPAC. Hold on. It was a SPAC, $32 billion SPAC based on
How much?
$32 billion. It was the second largest SPAC.
Holy shit.
So it's based on the idea that there are these Medicaid and Medicare claims that they can make a lot of money through the law, through legally going back and clawing back money. And so that's what this was based on. And pretty early on, the market said, no way, this cannot be that obvious, whatever. Okay. So they they came out with they said they were going to do $2 billion in 2022. They did $9 million.
No.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, everyone's getting sued.
Then hold on. Then they said in March, our second quarter 2022, our third quarter 2022 are not accurate.
Our statement.
Hold on. There was no 2020. There was no fourth quarter or year-end earnings, and there was no first quarter of 2023. So my question is, it has been a year and 5 days since they've had any numbers. How does the NASDAQ allow this to be traded with no information?
Life Wallet receives NASDAQ notification of non-compliance.
They did.
With
Then they get
Rule
120
524.
days. I mean, it's like,
So it's a penny stock now.
It's going to be zero.
It'll be, I mean, but it could be like a 3-cent stock for a really long time.
But it's that story is more amazing.
Who is the guy?
Crazy. John Ruiz is his name.
Okay.
And he's blocked me on Twitter. He says I'm a hater, this and that.
I mean, he has a 30-cent stock price. So it doesn't matter what you say.
Right.
Okay.
But it's very interesting.
Well, listen, the SPAC thing kind of went crazy a couple of years ago, and now is like the comeuppance,
of course,
from that moment, because there are a lot of these. Like
it all smelled. It's like, oh yeah, we started $10.
Yeah. It seemed too easy, right?
Too easy.
All right, I want to talk to you about investing in sports betting because you are an investor. I think you probably these days introduce yourself as an investor more than journalist or anything like. I know you wear a lot of hats. But some of the parallels between investing in sports betting and then investing in sports betting as a growth market, because there are a lot of publicly traded companies there too. So what's your overall view of that market right now and how people are participating in it?
There's two things here. So like the investment side, the market side, like, everyone said in 2018-19, oh my God, this is only going up.
Sports betting?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just easy to say that, right? Because the masses are talking about it. It's on every bus. Anecdotally, you see everything where
all
it's
your friends are
up.
betting on games.
But then you don't.
Right.
But then you don't realize, like, you have to realize that DraftKings is spending $1 billion on marketing. The customer acquisition costs here are enormous.
Yeah.
And there's not really that much loyalty. So like, someone's going to in New York here, Caesars was offering $1,000 match. Like, can you imagine that?
Right.
People talk about like, those meal plans that cost like $75 to nail a customer. Can you imagine any business come here for $1,000 and we're offering the same odds as anyone else?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is like, if you look at the number of apps that people have on their phone, the average person has 1.7 gambling apps. So it's not like they're looking and seeing what the best value is. Loyalty is just out the window.
All the tools are roughly equal on these apps.
Yeah.
The analytics,
Now there is the grand for me, because 85% of my bet. So I bet about $750,000 a year. I'm live, 90% live.
I mean, that's the total value.
That's
dollar
how
value.
much. Yes,
Right.
that's what I bet. Okay, but I'm live. I'm like a day trader.
You're betting
And
inside of the game.
So if I have things spinning on me, or sometimes it spins, it changes the odds and then goes, and I'm like, wait a second, so who's ever best at live betting, that's going to be
Who's the best? I live bet too, but I only use FanDuel.
It was PointsBet for last year. It was, and then it did not. I mean, right now I like DraftKings a lot because I have systems. Like if a team goes up this much, like I have systems of when I play things, and so live betting's important.
What sports are you betting?
I'm basically betting totals, so overs and unders of college football and baseball.
Why those two?
Because first of all, I bet live unders because the algorithm's too good for you to have any advantage unless you're betting an under, because people generally want to bet overs because they're rooting for offense.
It's the same thing in investing. People buy call options, not put options.
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's skewed to the
people are more bullish on scores.
I feel like the under hits what?
So if you at 52% of the time, but if you so in other words, it is not the computer is not giving you the exact odds. It's skewing to the over because people are going to bet the over. So when you ask my 9-year-old sons, what does your dad bet on? They say he roots for no offense. So
You're an unders guy.
Right. So I'm an unders guy, and I have various systems, like if 4 runs are scored in the first 3 innings, like and I bet parlay, like it's very complicated, but But
do the algorithms bet against you personally as the user, or is it not quite at that?
It's not at that level, but there's nothing illegal about that.
That's where it's going, right?
Yeah, I mean, so that's the question, because a lot of these sports books get crap for cutting off gamblers. Well, the next iteration is you got worse odds.
How to screw you.
Right. So per state, there's that. So Tennessee is the only state that decided that they want to mandate the percentage hold. So they're mandating how much the sports book needs to make, which means that they need to screw with the odds. Tennessee, every sports book in Tennessee, if you're licensed, you have to win 10% of the overall money.
Why?
Because it gets to taxes. But it's stupid because the odds are like they'll screw around, especially with parlays. Like your odds are much worse if you play in Tennessee.
Why don't they just tax the bet?
Because they don't want to do that.
They don't want to stop the betting activity.
But they're doing that in a way. But anyway, like, yes, so that could be a thing.
How come there's still some states, big states that held out, that are still holding out, won't make it legal?
Religion.
Yeah,
No,
if
like
you think about Massachusetts is there now, but it took
California?
them a long time. No, Massachusetts is just political pork. It's pretty much California, Florida, which is all Florida's about sovereign tribal gaming relationships, where it's like you have to physically be on tribal land, and then if it's mobile, is the fact that the servers are on tribal land. That's going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, because that's a big issue.
What about Texas?
Texas is, I think, kind of a religion thing.
Yeah.
And they only meet every other year. So you're either going to get it or not. So Texas will be like 2025.
1 in 5 U.S. adults, about 19%, say they have personally bet money on sports in some way in the last 12 months, according to Pew. Americans wagered $31.11 billion on sports in the first quarter of this year, which was a record.
By the way, it'll be a new record every year.
Generating an all-time high of $2.79 billion in quarterly revenue.
We were talking about Vegas.
70% year over year.
We were talking about Vegas. I mean, Nevada, people thought Nevada would be screwed.
Opposite.
And it's not. It's up. I still think people enjoy, by the way, sitting at a sports book.
Yeah.
But now I just went to Wrigley Field and saw the DraftKings Sportsbook there. It's amazing. We thought that there'd be windows and kiosks. And what happened was, it's not that, because the DraftKings wants you to bet on your phone so that they know it's you. If you're punching it into the kiosk and it's not through any sort of player card, or they want to get you when you're not there. And so the whole idea of kiosks and windows at sporting events went by the wayside.
There was something nice about going to the ticket counter, handing them cash, getting like it's just a different feel.
John, throw this up, sports betting activity. So this is as of June 22nd, 2023. There are 34 states plus DC where it's live legal betting. 4 states are legal but not yet operational. Is that Massachusetts in that group maybe?
Massachusetts is up.
It's up now. Okay. Active 0 states with active legislation or ballot initiative. There
no
are
legislation is like Wisconsin, North Dakota, those that are never.
So that's
Utah.
5 states.
And what does that mean? It's just never going to happen?
Yes.
And then 7 is dead, which means they've had legislation and they've decided.
Again,
and they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, but we're literally at 50% of the population right now. Obviously, the fact that you have California and Texas and Florida, that's huge.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, everyone's going to come along eventually, minus, I think, Wisconsin tribes and Utah and a couple other states.
Let's go to this next one. This is showing the handle and the gross revenue. Darren, what's the difference between, this is by year.
Right. So the handle is what people actually bet. So it's the whole.
What's on the line?
It's the whole bet. It's the whole bet. Like I said, I have $750,000 a year. It's the whole bet. That's what they're betting. The gross revenue is actually the revenue from the operators. So if you could see, the hold percentage there is like
10?
9. Yeah, 9. That's actually
so in 2023 it's $27 billion.
Right.
And that's the handle. Gross revenue was 2.4.
Normally a hold percentage. So and then you go the year before, you'll see it's
we only have 1 quarter.
Are there
in that 23?
Dan, are there a few events that swing that number? Like if the house has a bad beat in the Super Bowl or something?
So what happens is now we see in Pennsylvania when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, it was the highest hold percentage ever. So the books took almost 40% of the money, right? Because you have your local fans. Yeah. And so that's the most wild thing we've ever seen. Now, Nevada has only lost 2 Super Bowls where the sports books were in the negative. But for the most part, that's the craziest thing that we now see, where you have a team that
you have a local sports
book.
team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a local team.
So you don't need the Raiders to make the Super Bowl.
Correct. You need but you need But I'm saying like it could be either colossally bad or colossally good if you're a sports book in a town where the team makes the Super Bowl.
You think bettors understand at this point that there's a rake built in that minus 120, like they know?
Yes.
Put this chart up, John. These are the publicly traded gambling app companies. So none of them have done particularly well in the last couple of years.
Penn is among the most surprising to me.
All right, so let's go through these one by one. The purple is DraftKings. Right. It's up about 26% since. It looks
and
like
the one that you don't have there is Flutter.
Now this
it's
is
on
price.
the English
John,
market. But,
use market cap, please. It's the same thing, just cleaner.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Here's market cap. So Penn is a $3.7 billion company now. It is. Let's see what else we have.
That's Barstool.
Yeah, but it peaked at 22.
Caesars is 10.
MGM,
DraftKings is 12,
right.
and MGM is 15. And some of these have much bigger casino operations than the others. Some of them are in Macau. Some of them are not.
But basically, FanDuel, which is Flutter, is 1. DraftKings is 2 in
Flutter
America.
Is British? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Ladbrokes and a couple others. Paddy Power. So it's FanDuel is 1. They have about 48% of the market share. DraftKings is at like 30, and then BetMGM is number 3.
Let's look at these drawdowns. Last chart on these.
So Penn is the worst, down 82%. That's basically a pure play on gambling.
So what happened with Penn is that they made the case that they acquired Barstool so that they didn't have to pay high consumer acquisition costs because they said, we have, which is a real issue. The problem is the Stoolie is 26 years old and has a net worth all in of $120,000. That means that once you bleed that dry, the guy's gone. Like it's not like, and I don't think they have benefited as their philosophy was that they were going to benefit from the editorial.
I thought that was a
side of it.
reasonable bet. Do you think? Forget about hindsight.
Reasonable bet. Listen, I think they could sell Barstool for $1 billion as a media company. It's great. Reasonable bet. I just think it didn't work out.
So I would ask the counterfactual, which is, what happens if Penn never got together with Barstool? How much money would they have spent to get to where they are now? They probably never would have been able to.
I never heard it. Were they even on the map?
It's like
They were on the map, but they were very quiet.
Small horse tracks with slots?
all those horse tracks, yes.
Right. So in other words, I understand the stock's in a drawdown, but what would they have done otherwise? They might not have even been in the race.
That's actually a good point.
So then DraftKings is in a 63% drawdown, Caesars 57%, and MGM is only down 13%, because to Josh's point, it's also got a huge hotel business.
Right.
Yep.
So I think the hotel businesses have been helpful, because that is the best business in the world right now, is tourism.
True, and you could run a true loyalty program, right? You have a physical location that people can
and you have
go
something to give people, hotel room points.
Darren, were you at Michael Rubin's birthday party?
I was not. I only have 1.9 million Twitter followers. I don't think that was.
So
I made the cut.
I didn't realize this. Fanatics is valued at $31 billion. So it's a sports brand media company. They bought Topps. They bought Mitchell and Ness. They're going to go public soon. They raised $4.7 billion.
A lot of it from SoftBank. I'm not trying to discount that, but Matoshi's son's.
No matters.
Satoshi wants to be at the white party.
He wants to be at the white party, and sometimes
everybody wants to be at the white party.
From being in the investing world, I would say that sometimes you have to look at who on your way to that valuation, who put in and what did they value it as.
So by comparison, so again, $31 billion in the last round, which was in 2022, they raised $700 million. Adidas, $33 billion. Right. Not a good comp here, but Dick's is 11. Under Armour's $3 billion, and Foot Locker, again, not a good comp. But
Fanatics is worth 10x Under Armour. Does that sound right?
No.
When you say it out loud?
No.
What?
No.
They basically have the licensing so that they can do the.
They are. No, listen. They are very vertically integrated. So you order. Yeah. They're the only ones who could print a swoosh on a jersey.
Okay.
So they're literally making it. So their margins are tremendous. They have no waste, right? And they're sending it out. They have major economies of scale. Like, it's a big business.
I buy this shit all the time.
Yeah, they and then through collectibles and other things, I think they have to do a little bit better as a brand, because what happens is if you're just transactional, people only think of it.
Wait, and then Darren, if I'm a Major League Baseball team, I'm not operating my own e-commerce anymore.
Correct.
They're doing it for me.
Yes.
That's the business.
And they're often doing the
and they do a great job
too.
And they do a great job.
That's for all five major sports, right?
Yes, almost everything.
What was Michael Rubin's major insight that this was the business?
So Michael Rubin came up with GSI Commerce in 1999 or 2000. And basically what his zigzag was amazing.
He must have been 20 years old.
This is what he did. So what he did was, when everyone was saying we have a virtual warehouse, right? Like, hey, we run a website and we have a virtual warehouse. He goes, I'll buy all your shit. I'm not going to have a virtual warehouse. I'll have all the stuff and I'll get it a day faster than everyone else. And he won all the jobs. And then he said, you know why I'm a genius? Because, I'll have waste, but I want all the jobs. So it doesn't matter. I once saw he had 5,000 Jeremy Lin dolls in a room after the Knicks, after he was done with the Knicks.
After Linsanity.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, right? This is the write-off room, but I have every deal. And that was kind of the insight. And then he used that to say, what happens if I do the deals where I never have any waste, where I do the deals where I make the thing, you order it, I make it, I ship it. And I think that's what's led to the leanness that people like.
It's not even just-in-time inventory. It's almost made to order.
Yes.
Somebody wants
all he needs is blanks. And then the key was getting the permission to actually make the Nike things. And now they're making on-field jerseys, too.
Does he have every major sport?
Yes.
Okay. They're all running it through Fanatics.
He needs to get for collectibles, he needs to get
Golden
basketball.
Okay. Is anybody seriously competing with them anymore, or it's a wrap? Yeah.
No, it's a monopoly. It's a complete monopoly.
He does it really well, and that's it.
It's a complete monopoly.
I mean, that seems like genius to me.
They just bought PWCC, which is kind of like an auction company.
Okay,
hold on. I have to take this call. Hold on. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hello? No, nope. Okay, I'll let you know. Bye.
So Foot Locker is only valued at $2.5 billion, and Fanatics is 30. It probably
it's
come
hard-
public at
it's hard.
what, 40?
It's hard to believe, yeah.
Right.
And then you have to figure out, is it worth it?
What are the financials? Do we know yet? No, I don't think so.
No, we don't know any of the financials. No.
Tell us about the sports memorabilia business. I know you have a fund. Is it a fund?
It's my own fund. Like
It's
I've
mostly
been
you.
I've been offered to run big funds, like for like states, for big names that and the problem is like I don't want that pressure.
Okay.
But I love to be a arbitrageur of this is a very inefficient market.
Meaning?
There are
sports memorabilia, collectibles.
sports memorabilia in general.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that come to the market, and there's a lot of things that come to the market in the wrong way. It's in the wrong auction house, which means it has the wrong database of people who are going to buy it.
The people who would buy it are not showing up.
They're not. It's the wrong auction house. The person who owned the piece brought it to the nearest auction house, not the one that's going to get them the best price.
Okay.
And I find out about it. The description is wrong. Or the description. So I have a piece in my bag here where it was a 1961 Cavern Club membership card, and they didn't write that this got you into Beatles concert #1.
Yeah.
Okay, so I buy it for $500. Once I slab it, it's worth $50,000. So a lot of the things that I'm buying instantaneously are worth more because I know the story, and I can get around it by like you think about like AI and AI learning. Like this is something that like I don't even think AI can get because you have to know a little bit about everything.
You're a generalist. Like most,
yeah, I'm a generalist.
Most people don't know the Cavern Club was in Liverpool, and it's where the Beatles got their start.
Right.
And there's no short sellers in that market.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Not yet.
Not
Are there
yet.
other guys? Are there other guys like you that you bump into?
They do. Yeah, they do. Listen, so I identify markets and kind of figure out. So tickets. So PSA, which grades cards, all of a sudden said we're grading tickets. And I'm like, wait a second. Cards are kind of like, at least modern cards are false scarcity. We're making 10 of these. We're making 50 of these. Tickets, it's like, where were you going to put your ticket besides the fridge and the bulletin board? They didn't have sheets to put them in. So over the course of, I put like 300 grand into tickets and I shut up. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I was like, okay, what's the top 100 tickets that I need to get? And I'm going to be very quiet. And then once I get 90% of them, I'm going to scream and I'm going to say,
tickets to the next big thing.
Yeah, tickets to the next big thing. These are
Get Gary V
unbelievable.
excited about it.
Yeah, but no.
No,
I really believe it because I've only sold 1% of my stuff. Like I'm not a pumper and then dumper. I'm a pumper, and I believe in the markets that I go into.
Okay. So I have a shoebox full of every concert ticket I've ever been to. I have no idea if they have any value, but to me, once every 3 years, I'll like lift the top and say.
You should put them in slabs so you can send them to PSA. They'll slab them. I told a friend, he's like, listen, I have 300 Fish tickets. What should I do? I go, you should get them all graded. You should go to a Fish concert. You should put them in shoeboxes. They'll be gone in 2 seconds. So I moved from sports tickets to political tickets to I'm at concert tickets. The problem is like, for the concerts you went to, it's not always. So I own the only ticket to the first time Michael Jackson did the moonwalk.
Was that Motown?
1983 Motown 25.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Okay.
Barry Gordy and
I know a couple things.
What about movie tickets, like the first Godfather?
So
Does that have any value?
movie tickets, it needs to be either the premiere night,
Like Wizard of Oz?
the premiere, like the premiere, like I have the Top Gun premiere, like a special. So movie tickets, it has to be the premiere
because
opening
less
week.
scarcity, right? You could sell 5 million movie tickets. You're not going to sell 5 million tickets to one Bruce Springsteen show.
Right.
Okay.
So then I go think about people. So who do I want to collect? So it's for me, and it could be whoever you want, but like you just got to get the best of the best. So like if you collect Billy Joel, which I do, you have to find the ticket in Leningrad when he threw over the piano because he was so pissed because no one. So I got a backstage pass from that. It's the keys to living this market are absolute obsession. Like I have like anyone in their space who's good at what they're doing in terms of investing. I'm obsessed with it. I have a sheet. I know when all the auctions are. Sometimes the auctions are during the day. Sometimes but there's enough things that happen where, and then you just have to decide when to make your massive, massive bets. So like I bought the rudder that Buzz Aldrin used to steer the command module to the moon.
Oh my God.
But it was in a Hollywood costume auction and it was legit and NASA had no rights to it. And I actually sold it 24 hours later to someone who didn't know it was there, made a quick buck. That's rare. So my biggest piece that I bet on was I bought the vest from Ferris Bueller. The vest,
the leopard print vest.
Yes,
cheetah print.
It's not leopard print. You think it is? It's just it's some
just
lines and whatever. But this is the work I did. So let me give you a deep dive. Becomes available. The auction house says this guy got it from John Hughes, who is the director. He writes a letter. So that's good there. I called the prop master from Ferris Bueller. I got her number because I DM'd her. She's 71. She's on Instagram. Her name's Marilyn Vance. I said, Marilyn, I might bid on this. Can you look at this? What do I have to look for? She goes, there's only one, which to me is I'll only buy a movie costume if there's only one. There's usually 15, which has ruined the movie costumes because you don't ever know if it's. She goes, there's only one. I bought a sweater and cut it as a vest. I bought it at Marshall Field. She gave me all these specific things. She goes, if you want to win it, and then show me a picture and I'll deny it if it's not what it is. So I win it. It was $155,000. It was not cheap. You open it up, and it has all these X's, which is where they're making sure that it doesn't hem or where it doesn't fray.
Okay.
Because it's now become a vest.
Yeah.
And I FaceTimed her. She showed me, and I go, okay, now you write me a letter. So now I have the vest. It says this vest now owned by Darren Rovell.
What's my cut?
Is the only one. Oh, I gave her $2,500. But the letter's worth another $150,000. Right. Because that firms up that this is the one and only.
So we were talking about that before. The provenance is the thing.
Yep.
The authenticity.
The chain of custody. And now what's happening more is photo matching. So like on a game use thing, was there a threat? So this is crazy. The jersey that Kobe, where he popped the jersey. There was 2 threads on it that matched what someone had. Someone bought it as a Kobe game used and then later found out that it was that pop. Bought it for, $40,000. There were 2 threads, one on the 4, one on the bottom of the 2, then matches up to the high-res pictures, and then you sell that for $3 million.
And you have the picture with it.
Yeah, and you say it is matched by photo, it's matched by my gray, and this is,
So hold on. So it's not just the authenticity. You're building in the story of the item.
It's the story.
And you have a level of pop culture awareness that maybe more nonchalant collectors would never have. But then you're also like hunting down supporting evidence that this thing is the thing.
And then I'll wait till the anniversary to talk about it. So like I told the world I had Ferris Bueller's vest on June 5th, 1985, which is Ferris's actual day off.
Okay.
Which we know because Claudel Washington did a pop-up in the 10th inning of a 4-3 game on June 5th.
Is the amount of fake shit out there becoming a smaller percentage of the overall market, or is it still bad?
No, there's plenty of fake stuff. I mean, you have to do.
You ever get scammed?
Once in a ticket, actually. So the
You'll never see that guy again.
I got, a European ticket. He sold me a fake Hand of God, a Maradona Hand of God ticket. And what's great is the market, flushed it out. I said, here's my Hand of God ticket. I got DMs saying, why are the numbers, one of the numbers is darker than the other. That doesn't seem right. And, then I said to the guy.
Who'd you sell it to?
No, I didn't. No, this is my obligation. So if I'm on eBay and I get you, right? Like you don't know what something is. The example is like the UCLA Washington football game on November 12th, 1955. Guy was selling all these UCLA tickets from 1955. He must have wondered why the Washington game went for $480 and everyone else went for $10. That's the game in Back to the Future 2 where Biff knew the ending.
Okay.
In the car.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted it. Okay. If I'm my eBay handle, which I'm not going to tell anyone, but people know because they put it out, it's fair game. I could do whatever I want. If I'm Darren Rovell and I'm buying something or selling something, I must give fair market value. It's now my brand. And so that's how it works. Once I say I have this ticket, I am as much of a buyer as I am a steward for the industry.
Yeah.
So I now have to figure. So not only did I say to the guy, I need to return it, and he understood like I could really screw him if he said no. I then say to PSA, you graded this. It's fake. We have to take it out of the population.
Yeah.
And I've had that.
Because
a
you
couple
benefit
times.
if there's trust in this
Correct,
space.
correct.
You lose
Yes.
if people say it's all fake shit.
Yeah, if it's all fake, yes. And I need to say this is fake, and I need to say, hey, you know what? I'm really concerned about these 1958 World Cup tickets. How are they so perfect? There was a bunch that's Pele's first World Cup. There was like 300 of them that were pristine. I need to say that. I need to tell the marketplace that, because if I don't, someone else will.
Right.
And
The sports memorabilia market was estimated at about $26 billion in 2022.
small.
Is that transactions or is that just what people are holding?
That's probably
Probably just what's changed hands.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than that.
Much bigger.
What are the
Okay.
commissions like in that market?
So this is an interesting thing. So normally it's the buyer has to pay a buyer premium of in between 15 and 23%.
Wow.
Okay, and then the seller is usually at 10%. So if they're consigning it to the auction house, it seems good, but there's been so much competition. It's almost like the sports agent industry where it's like, yeah, you got the number one player. Congratulations. What do you get of his salary? Point.
Right,
It's
'cause
the same thing. If
beg.
Golden Auctions
Yeah.
is competing with PWCC and they're competing with SCP and they're competing with Heritage, like eventually, like when it gets to me, I say I'm going to market the hell out of this. I'm going to say it's in your auction, and I'm like, I'm getting less than zero. Like I'm getting a negative percentage. So like a lot of the great pieces, they write it off as a marketing
It's branding.
thing, and
It's branding.
yeah.
I was watching the King of Collectibles, and Ken Golden
Yes.
said, like, I'm not letting this guy leave without it. And even if he doesn't make $1, it's still good for his
So
brand.
Ken probably did, Golden probably did 450 million gross. And then I would say they got a blended average of commissions of about 7 or 8%.
So $30
$30
million?
million.
What do you think about the funds that are operating in the memorabilia market? Is it really early, or are there some like established investment products in the space that you actually look at and say those guys know?
I
what
was
they're
an
doing?
advisor for one of these funds, and they didn't want. They got so excited they didn't want to listen to me.
What do you mean by that? They
I
wanted to
said,
buy a
don't
lot
go
of stuff?
in. Yeah, don't go into baseball cards. Don't have, like you got to be really focused on these things.
So what happened? They raised money and they felt they had to buy everything?
Yes, and they also felt that they needed to have a fund to buy individual pieces. The fractional business went down the drain.
Killed.
Special purpose vehicle to
that
buy
was
one thing.
But the problem with that, and I've done some SPVs to buy one thing. But the part with the fractionals,
You something like Rally Road?
yeah,
Okay.
Rally's the best of them, but Collectible and a couple others, there's no liquidity. The market doesn't move. So like if I want to get out of it, there's not a daily market that will let me flush this thing out. And that became a massive problem. If I have a bid and an ask and they're sitting up there for days, that's not a market.
It's not a liquid market.
Is that dead forever?
I think so. People ask me, it's like, why do you go into these niches? Cards are so much better. Yes, cards are more liquid, but I don't want to be in a market where yesterday something sold for $500 because I'm going to sell it for $505. I want to be in a market where a ticket hasn't sold for 3 years. There's 11 guys who want it, and name my price. Like I go to the National Sports Collectors Convention. It'll be in Chicago in July. And I basically have a sign saying nothing's for sale.
Yeah.
And I'm the king poobah. And if you want it, I had 9 Disney signatures. And a guy's like, I got to get it. He's like, I can't leave. He's like, would you do a deal? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, I'll buy it. Like that's the position you want.
You negotiate and you're like, this is what I think it's worth, or I'll just go home with it.
Or I'll keep it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it. And
Because you don't need the liquidity.
correct.
Hey, how do taxes work with all this shit?
Bad. I mean, there's a 21% collectible tax
Even if it's long term?
on 21%.
It's hot. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
The long term, you do need to pay attention to whether you're selling it long term. And for me, most of the time, I am long term because I'm not a flipper.
But that's
That's
not
the
too-
problem with flippers.
that's not dissimilar from stocks.
Yeah.
If you sell it internationally, is it the same?
Uh,
Do you owe a tax there?
I
Shh, don't
haven't
ask
really.
us.
I really haven't.
I'll let you
done
call your
international.
accountant and get back to
Yeah.
us. You want to show us some stuff?
Sure.
All right. I've
Too
been.
much stuff.
So this is, if you're listening to the show, you might want to visit YouTube later and get your eyes on some of this stuff.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one of 3 tickets to Jackie Robinson stealing home in Game 1 of the 1955 World Series. It's
Look how nice
one,
the
one,
tickets
one,
used to
one
be,
of,
though.
sorry,
Beautiful,
sorry.
yeah.
One of 3 full tickets, a full ticket. And I just love this. This is like part of the story. Imagine it's Game 1 of the World Series. You're in Yankee Stadium. It's enemy territory. And you steal home in the World Series. Who the
Yeah.
hell does that?
Yeah.
So I love that one. This is Kobe Bryant's credential to the Olympics in Beijing.
What camera do you want him holding
Yeah.
these up to, guys?
Was that the Redeem team?
This one?
This one right
No,
here?
this is
Okay.
the
Oh, was it
08. Is
2012? What
Yeah,
was it?
2012 was. Yeah, so this is 08. This is the one item I will
Mike's
not
a big
I will not
Mike's
sell.
a big Kobe guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will not sell. Yeah, so the Kobe story with me was that Kobe
Darren, we have some pictures of this, which John is going to put on.
Okay.
Do you have this? All right, John's going to put these on screen while you tell this story. I love this.
Yeah, so Kobe
This is from Darren Rovell's Instagram.
yeah. So Kobe for a long time I would interview him like once a year. And one time towards the end of his career, he said, "Hey, I'm looking to invest more. What do you think? What should we go into?" I gave him a specific. I have a food and beverage VC called Tastemaker Capital. It's only food and beverage because that's what I know. I love being in supermarkets. Everything's before your eyes. Once you talk about tech with me, I don't know what you're doing in your basement. Supermarkets, pretty much what you see is what you get. If you go to trade publications, you can get back 6 months. But for me, it's very transparent. So I told him, I go, beef jerky's crazy. There's this artisan beef jerky called Crave. They're looking for the last 8 million. It's 10%, valued at $80 million. Company's doing 29 million in revenue. It's, less than a 3x multiple. I think you should get it. And he's like, what do I get? Because I'm Kobe. I said, well, they know you have 8 million cash. They're only looking for one person. So they're allowing you to get in. And I'm telling you, they're going to sell soon. We had a meeting in LA. He had a financial advisor at the time. Guy didn't like the deal. It sold for 5 months later. It sold for 291 million to Hershey. And I'm like, you make 23 million in the NBA. You could have made like 23 million in 6 months on this. He's like, all right, next investment.
I'm not listening to my financial guy anymore.
Yeah,
Listen to you.
Next
Right.
investment, I'll put up to $10 million into whatever you say. And it was 6 months later, and Mike Rapoli had gone from vitamin water to start Body Armor.
Yeah.
And I said, this doesn't taste this great right now. You're going with the horse here. You're going to put money.
You're betting on Mike.
Mike Rapoli.
Yeah.
6 million in, returned 444 million. I put in slightly less, unfortunately. And that was, and we did it. And then from there, I'm like, I got to do this myself too, because it's just not.
Probably had a moment there where you're like, wait a minute, this is the thing that I do.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So with Kobe, that's
Was he was like, obviously everyone understands, super smart guy.
very smart, never went to sleep. I would say knew that he was going to die early.
Really?
He behaved like he was always running out of time.
Like he was in a rush to
Yeah.
accomplish things.
Yeah.
Okay. What was he concerned with when he looked at deals with you?
He loves going. It's so Kobe and JJ Watt, who is a partner of mine now. They're both the same. They like to shock. So when Magic Johnson went into a room, he would shake hands and people were like, "Oh, that's Magic Johnson."
Yeah.
Both Kobe and JJ want to shock you with how much they know about a company, and how much they know about general business. So they're the same way. Kobe would ask questions where people would be like they might not even be ready for a question if you're the founder or the CEO.
Yeah.
Like, as a basketball player, I think about this. How do you think about your competition? And it was. I kind of felt sorry for some of these guys because he came in and people thought he was going to sit there.
Yeah. People are like, oh, the athletes.
So that
here.
was amazing.
Right, right.
So that was really amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You work with JJ now?
Yes, yes.
Is he much the same way?
JJ's an investor in. I brought him into Athletic Brewing, which might be a better Xer than Body Armor.
Okay.
Which is just a crazy, again, contrarian things about 2018. I'm looking at non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
And people automatically dismiss non-alcoholic beer because of O'Doul's. Like,
It sucks.
It sucks. They don't bother to look at what's happening in Europe. In Ireland, 8% of beer volume is non-alcoholic beer. In Ireland, in Germany, 7%. How is that possible? Because they have 50 to 100 craft non-alcoholic beers that taste good.
They're making stuff that's good.
So everyone's saying, well, it's all about the stigma. No, it's not. It's that there's not something that replaces what's in your hand. So, and everything followed, like the behavior that made sense, which is like, I'm a 45-year-old guy. It's Sunday at 7:00. I'm watching Sunday Night Football. I have 2 real beers, right? I have 2 full-strength beers. I know I got to wake up at 6 a.m. on Monday. Am I going to have another 6? No, I want something that feels the same and like I don't need
This is another example, though, of an arbitrage opportunity.
Yeah, totally arbitrage.
Where you see that there's quality coming into a market and people haven't thought through the fact that there will actually be demand for it.
So they were raising it around $20 million. They were having trouble raising. And what happened is they were a great non-alcoholic beer. And all of a sudden, people my age started doing it. And then people in their 30s started saying we want less alcohol. And it wasn't just, dry January. And I think they're going to sell for north of $1 billion. It's also an example of when you invest in something, always think about who you're exiting to. I know it sounds like, of course, but like that's why you don't start an ice cream business. It's going to be Unilever and one other.
Well, no, in the stock market, you're just thinking about the crowd. In a private business, you have to have some idea. If this is not going public, are there a lot of other companies that would take this off our hands?
And with non-alcoholic, you have to remember that Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, PepsiCo, they could all invest in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Kobe, yeah. So I'm trying to think of, okay, so
digging deep.
He's like Carrot Top. He's got like all
he's got all his props. I loved checks. So checks to me, until I came along, sound like such a prick. Until I came along, the only reason why people collected checks was because they felt really good about the signature. It's not fake. Who'd fake a check? But for me, I looked at a check, and one time I looked at a check, and it changed my so at the National, like 7 years ago, guys selling Bart Giamatti checks, the former commissioner of baseball. I'm going through it, and one says Chicago Cubs 8888. Now I'm a freak, and I know that 8888 is the first night game. So this is Peter Uber. The memo said Peter Uberoff's seats. So this is to pay the Chicago Cubs for the former commissioner's night game tickets. And I'm like, oh my God, I should collect checks where there are stories.
Who would have bought those seats?
What do you mean?
Who
baseball was paying to buy Peter Uberoff seats for Peter Uberoff from the Cubs.
Oh, okay.
It was like box seats for like $42.27. Okay. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to collect checks that have stories. So this is Cole Porter paying for the penthouse at the Waldorf Astoria the year it opened. Cole Porter stayed in the penthouse and went down and
show that check to that camera.
Sorry, who was Cole Porter? I'll ask.
Anything goes. A silly famous.
Okay.
Is this the 1930s?
Listen, I wasn't born until I was born in the 20s.
Can you hold it back a little closer to your?
Yeah, Mike
head?
wasn't born yet in the 30s.
1931.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. Look at like the handwriting on that too.
It's art,
and it's for $2,175 monthly rent. I mean, he
was living in the Waldorf.
Yes.
What's that today?
60, 70. So the other ones that I have in here, it's going to take me forever but I have Denzel Washington paying for his Lakers courtside seats. I have Joe Montana paying for his sophomore year apartment at Notre Dame.
Wait, how'd you get the Denzel one? Like, how does that not get shredded?
So that's a question I always get. So for anyone listening to this show who's under 30, the way it used to work with checks is that you'd write a check, it would go to that person's bank, that person would cash it, it would be sent back to your bank, and they'd send it back to you. With a lot of these famous people, it's going into a big like envelope at their agents. And so I think most of these things got out because other people were holding it. Should have been shredded, of course.
Their business manager, their lawyer.
Maybe someone sold a boatload of them. So I have. So that's how I have the Denzel.
Has
check.
anybody tried to buy their shit back from you?
No. The only thing that's happened is once I say on eBay,
OJ wants your stuff back. So I don't know.
Once I say on eBay who I am, because you have to send it to me.
Yeah.
They go, oh. Did I screw up?
Because they're selling something to
why?
you.
Because they said to
him.
me, they
Right.
know that like they sold something cheap, and there's only one time where someone flaked on me. I bought a 1947 Boston University press pass for a football game, and I thought I had it. Now I don't talk unless I get it. I don't talk about it anymore.
Okay.
And I said I bought it's Vin Scully's first broadcast ever. Talked about it. Someone I bought it for like $7.
Yeah.
And then the person took it back and then sold it for $3,000 under Vin Scully's first game ever.
Oh man.
You know,
so they didn't know what they had.
Yes.
Then you're the buyer.
Right. So other
and then they're like, oh,
right.
we have something.
So
here.
other checks I have Amelia Earhart paying for nose surgery. I have
of course you do.
I have Babe Ruth paying for the equivalent of $16,000 in alcohol. He used to drink a 750 milliliter bottle of vodka before the night before every game.
As one does.
As one does. Yeah, when your body is temple.
Well, Hernandez did that during the game.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
maybe that's better.
Yeah. But so I have that. I actually went back to the Park Avenue Circle Liquor Store on like 38th and Madison, and I was like, "Do you have records back to? I would like to see what he actually
Park Avenue
bought."
Liquors?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
they
it's
don't
on
have-
Madison now.
Madison, yeah.
They moved
38th
it.
and Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was that where Babe Ruth was
Yes,
buying
at
his
Park Avenue Liquors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
What's
of-
your favorite? I know it's hard to.
So I sold my favorite check because I got offered 15x, and I said I got to let it go.
Okay.
My favorite check is a great money check. So there was a mobster in Boston, Charles Solomon, who was Al Capone's like right-hand man in Boston. And on October 28th, 1929, the day before there was a bunch of crashes, but the main crash, right?
Yeah. Stock market crash.
He took $25,000 out of the bank. And as people know, there was runs on banks and they actually ran out of money.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had a mobster who was taking physical money out of a bank the day before is just a great, like, at least it's like, what did he know?
Well, who wanted that so badly from you?
So he was Rick Probstein is a Orthodox Jew and he's a collector, and Charles Solomon's one of the most famous Jewish.
I was going to say not Italian, right? Okay.
And so he's like, I gotta have that check. I'm like, not for sale, not for sale. Until the point where I was like 15x, and I was like, all right, I've told the story. I'll tell the story one more time and then I'll let it go.
But Darren, also, no one else is buying that but this guy.
That's true.
And you had to have like factored into your decision.
Yeah, at least at that price.
You have Warren Buffett's high school yearbook?
I have Warren Buffett's high school yearbook. I also own the largest Warren Buffett signature in the world.
Largest?
Yes, I would bring it here, but I think it's worth I think someone will pay millions. Well, let me ask you.
What did he sign?
It's on a bed of 18 uncut, uncirculated dollar bills.
Wow.
It is.
He signed a sheet of uncut dollar bills?
It is 2 feet long.
That's millions.
I have been offered 1.7 million. Now I did turn it down. So let me just tell you the story of how this happened. Hopefully Warren isn't listening and signed something bigger now. So like, I'm going to get Warren to sign it bigger. Right. So it was in a sports auction, and I bought it for $7,500.
Why was it in a sports auction?
This is why it was in a sports auction. I believe the person who consigned it had 18 other things and said, I just want to consign it or
Throw
whatever.
it in.
But at that point, I said, this is going to be the greatest arbitrage of my life. And the reason why I said that was I thought about the movie Dodgeball, where White Goodman says, "That's me holding a bull by the horns."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, whatever.
Literally.
And I'm literally, and so I thought about everyone in Wall Street and how many people who would say, "That's the largest Warren Buffett signature in the world," and for someone who had money, it didn't matter. It would not matter. And so if it got into a competitive bidding situation, it'd be millions and it's it's 2 feet. The signature's 2 feet long.
Do you have like a warehouse? Where do you keep
Well,
all
he's
this shit?
92 now, so
93 on August 1st.
I don't think you sell that now.
Right, until he dies. But then there's a thing. It's
son
like
of a bitch.
then you sell it when he dies. Then there's a negative to that. Like
No,
you know,
later
or later
on his 100th birthday.
Right.
Yeah, you
Or his
can't do
100th
it like a
birthday.
week later.
Right. You cannot do that.
Oh, Warren Buffett's
So you ask
100th birthday.
You ask
we're
where I
auctioning.
keep things. I have a series of places, just like artwork. The place where most of this stuff is actually in Newark, New Jersey. Believe it or not. There's billions and billions of dollars worth of art in this nondescript building that has a guy has barbed wire. You have to 48 hours before you have to come in. It's air conditioned because the safety deposit boxes on these things. So I have to have I have to have insurance on all this. I have to have an Excel spreadsheet. I have to know what's where, when I want to physically have it, when I want to have pictures of it. Like it's not a small operation,
Yeah.
and it is, and it's not just fun.
You're like self-custodying to
Yes,
some extent.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're a clearing and custody
And
operation as well.
you diversify your custodians.
He is the custodian.
He was just saying that just to
Right. So do you ever think that you would do this professionally for other people, or is that like a frontier that you don't want to cross into?
It depends on what the terms are. The people that offer
Terms are they call you every day.
no, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Okay.
I got offered $3 million to run a year to run a fund, a sports memorabilia fund, or a memorabilia fund that I could not talk about what I bought.
Okay.
And to me, that was death.
Yeah, because you're
out.
too excited about
I'm
this.
out. That's the joy of it. So I'm out. At some point, like I'm fine with the pressure of doing the SPV and the food and beverage stuff. I'm wondering if we would take out the joy of this.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like it's your
And
hobby.
I can make enough money myself. I don't need to be like I can make. There's enough advantage for me in this myself.
It's like
I do
the love
an
of your
SPV.
life, though.
I do an SPV. So I did an SPV once, which was this ridiculous opportunity. Totally wrong auction house. There was so I own the second most important Martin Luther King document that exists. The first is the "I Have a Dream" speech, which is owned by George Raveling of Nike, who was a security guard. Took it, probably worth $35 million. The warden at the Birmingham jail, when he wrote Letter from a Birmingham Jail, which is, if you read it, it is more poignant and more touching and insane than "I Have a Dream," but it's not a
Most
speech.
of the "I Have a Dream" speech was improvised anyway.
Right. The "I Have a Dream" certainly was.
Yeah.
Right. And
So the letter you have, you think is
he said "I Have a Dream" before that, a couple weeks before that. But so I have him signing. So the letter from the Birmingham jail was cobbled together. Him and Ralph Abernathy, his right-hand man, they were passing notes to the outside. And so when he left the Birmingham jail, they had this note. So I have the warden's logbooks where he's signing in and out his mail 12 times. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. And it's just so mind-blowing. And because the in and out, the mail part of it, so I didn't know how much it was going to cost, but I knew I had to win it. It was a small auction house. And so I got a group of people together. And it's always hard because you're like, when are you going to sell it? There's a responsibility with all these people that you really, what's the vote? What do you, and so it's hard to do that type of
Can you
stuff.
buy them out? You just be like, look, I know you want to get out. I don't.
I could.
Yeah.
I think we share the similar, like I convince people like this is the best to get out.
Right.
How'd you get into the cocktail game?
Yeah, we gotta end with kickstand cocktails.
Where's the
Hey guys, in the
cocktails?
freezer, just bring the whole bin. So this is
And
exciting.
grab me a funnel.
And bring Michael his funnel. So this is exciting. The canned cocktail business is on fire, obviously. I would have thought it would have petered out like a couple of summers ago.
started.
People just like the idea of people. It did just start. It's people just love the vessel that it's in
and the consistency, it's the
yeah.
same every time.
Let me ask you a question. So I got pitched one of these recently, and I just thought, first of all, I don't know anything about the space.
Thank you,
It's just going to get dominated by the biggest players. Are there room for independent brands?
Yes, if you have enough differentiation. So So for me, I was never going to get into the cocktail space. I was at Beauty in Essex, New York City, and I had a jalapeno cucumber drink. Okay?
I think I had that drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. The second one was no good. I went down to the bartender. I said, "Are you the same bartender who gave me this?" "Yes." I go, "What's the problem?" He goes, "It's the jalapeno. I can't tell you whether it's spicy or not." I'm like, "Oh, different jalapenos have different Scoville units. I get it." I'm like, "You don't like cutting up jalapenos." So the first word, or you said consistency. Every woman is putting a jalapeno in their margarita, but they don't know whether it's a spicy one or not. It's roulette. Can I create a brand whose chief differentiator is spice, offering you mild, medium, and hot, and allow that to be the differentiator?
And
then
every time you click the can open, you know what you're getting.
But why vodka instead of tequila?
So vodka is the start because vodka is the lower calorie. It's 105 calories. Tequila is like 135. And it enables me to, you don't taste the vodka. And I love doing that. We are doing tequila next, but like vodka, I love.
So how hot is hot?
Hold on. Let's
So-
get in.
so you
let's get
gotta-
into
so-
these.
By the way, the cans are beautiful.
Which one do you want me to drink?
Black and a sea or white.
Which-
I'd like you to drink the pineapple, actually.
Okay, so this is called charred
So
pineapple.
I like to use,
poblano.
in order to be differentiated, I love the fact of using an adjective, right? Charred. Charred has never been on a can before.
Cheers, bitch.
Is Duncan, are you allowed to drink this?
Probably, but I'd need to edit.
So you're going
Okay.
to get a real pineapple, not a fake pineapple, and then you're going to get the spice on the back end
this is
that
good.
will hit you in the back.
I feel the
that will,
spice.
that will cause this cycle of, ooh, now let me drink more spice.
Wait, hold
Let me
on,
drink
hold
more
on.
Spice.
This is really good. It's not
Very
sweet
nice.
at all,
It-
but I
it's
taste
not
pineapple.
Sweet, but this is a complex cocktail that if Beauty in Essex poured this and put a little fruit on it, you'd be like, wow, this is a $15 cocktail at a bar. So I had to make the spice what it was, but it also had to be all these cocktails are overly sweetened. Do you know why the 8-pack has been like the prevalent? It's like you can only drink 2 black cherries, and then you have to go on to 2 mangoes, and then you have to go on. You can drink 11 of these because it gets you to a net zero. Once you swallow, we're talking about like there's no aftertaste.
It's not lingering.
I
It's not
don't. Right.
aftertaste.
I don't taste what I taste. Like no disrespect to any of the brands out
High
there.
Noon is a fake pineapple.
I don't like white. I don't like White Claw because of what lingers after.
Yeah, the malt.
I love High Noon. The White Claws are undrinkable.
White Claw is hard for me. And I know people love it. It's just like I can't have more than one of those.
So you said how hot is hot? Well, let me bring you. I'll bring you.
So this is called a medium one.
Yeah. Here's another medium. I only have one here.
This
but,
is no
like-
big deal. It's not spicy.
Okay.
It's great.
You want to try
Drink
the
10
hot,
of them.
hot?
Wait, what's the ABV of this?
5.5% ABV, 105 calories, 3 grams of carbs, no added sugar, gluten-free, and kosher.
So perfect. So
What you're gonna get? Hold on. What you're gonna get there is you're gonna get a dry peach, not a Snapple peach. It'll hit you in the tongue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hit you in the back of the throat.
It's great.
So it gives you a bourbon burn with a vodka. Sorry, do not cut that. Do not cut that separately.
We're not cutting
and
anything.
And it's gonna hit you in the back of the throat now.
I love it.
Wait, so are they all 5.5?
Yes.
But even this, it's not.
What
too,
is that
I mean, it's
comparable
drinkable.
to?
It's not spicy.
That's-
It's not too spicy.
It's not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Right, you're not
if
trying
I
to
did a
kill somebody.
jackass cocktail, that's not in my best
No,
interest.
what is 5.5 comparable to? That's
High
like
Noon's about 5, so it's a higher beer. It's like a little bit higher beer.
It's right
like
where
a
you
high
want
IPA.
high IPA is
7.5.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
stay under 6 because in order to get into supermarkets across the country in states that allow supermarkets, you got to hit it there.
All right. What are the other flavors?
So here, you should try. You want to try a raspberry?
let me hit
so
one of
again,
these.
that's really light.
Okay.
This is wonderful.
You like it,
I
right?
love it. Where do you sell these?
So here's the strategy. You cannot go wide. You have to go deep. So I picked the states I'm going into
I have always said that. Tell us why that's important with this.
because you're going up against all the big guys.
So you gotta build a fan base
If you
somewhere.
do not have a market manager in that market, you're dead.
I agree
if
with
you
that.
do not have someone who is in a supermarket or who walks in, who talks to people, who know, you actually will die and lose all your money. You know how many people go into a market and then go, oh, well, just let the broker do it. No. You need an $80,000 employee who you give benefits to and has some equity. So I went into Tennessee. I liked Nashville. We got a market manager there. I hired a guy from Red Bull. We went into Arizona. I loved Arizona.
This
I
is
knew I
good,
can.
Darren. The raspberries.
Raspberry.
That's good. Okay, go on.
So I got someone in Arizona. So I only went into Tennessee, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and my investors are going to me, but we're in New York and New Jersey. I go, I'm sorry. I know part of it is like you want to tell people, this is my drink. I got it. But
Eventually.
my idea. And so we're DTC. So we're in 35 states, direct to consumer on our website. You can get it in New York.
But
and
are
New
you
Jersey.
DTF?
No.
What's that?
It's kickstandcocktails.com is the
I
site.
got it. Thank you. That wasn't part of my month.
Kickstandcocktails.com
Yes.
is the okay.
Yes.
So
But if
you
you're
can
not-
sell it to anybody.
If you're not in New York physically, can I still order in
You
New
can
York?
order it online. Yeah, so we can do it online. But in other words, you have to get deep into these markets. So we'll be in Florida in January. We're going to enter Illinois, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it slow. And in some area, like in the biggest store in Nashville, we are going head to head with High Noon.
Yeah.
Because and you have to do that. You have to have wins, and you have to eventually say, we beat High Noon in the biggest store in Nashville.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just in no man's land.
Is the spice so I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the spice element the thing that's going to enable you to beat High Noon or hold you back because not everybody is into a spicy cocktail?
So
have you thought about that?
Of course. What I would say is we have the highest try to buy ratio in the entire alcohol business.
Oh shit.
Which means that 90% of my marketing is sampling. People get scared because all this, I'm like coconut water. You try a bad coconut water in Whole Foods, you're never going into that category. You will never drink another coconut water.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh, spice.
Right.
I'm scared.
I don't like spicy food.
I don't like spicy drinks. And then the person's drinking the peach and she goes, that's my favorite.
It's delicious.
So the spice is really, I don't like to say this, but like the spice is really, it provides a complexity. When you drink other drinks, it starts out the same as it ends. Oh, this is a mango. It's flat. These actually like grow on you, right? Like it's a different experience if you're drinking the peach and
What's the biggest demographic? Like who are the people most likely to adopt?
There's 62 million Hispanics in this country. That's growing. They're going to be 40% of this country. But we're about 60-40 women to men.
Holy shit.
Because and people are like, oh, well, it looks a little bit masculine. That's kind of like, for this, it's kind of like, I need to be black in a sea of white. Everyone's white.
Smart.
You look at I need to be differentiated at every single turn. It is crazy, as you said, to be in this business. You got to be crazy. I think I can win because I'm black in a sea of white. I stand for spice. I'm giving it the best shot, and we're really doing well.
Do you have any celebrities or people like that in mind?
So our investors are J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, Brad Keselowski. Eddie George has been amazing for us in Ohio because we're in Ohio, and when we brought in Ohio State, oh my God! And by the way, real-time big money investors. They are not like, I'll throw it to you this way.
How is raising money?
It was easy to raise money the first time because I raised too little. What I didn't realize is some of these canned cocktails are raising 30, 40 million on 2.5-3 million in revenue.
Yeah.
And it's like
not anymore.
They're taking honestly, like 2 months ago. And so our first raise was 2.3 million, and now we're getting orders of 250,000, 300,000. And so it's like, and in order to achieve, this is a volume business. You need to achieve economies of scale. So we need to order 500,000 boxes at one time. So like I raised too little, but the fact that we have the trajectory that we do makes it easier as long as your valuation makes sense, right? Like that's the thing. Like, so you can say like, oh, like it's based on retail sales valuation. So like Body Armor gets $8 billion because they're $1 billion in retail sales.
Right.
Okay, what are they like? Like it's not EBITDA. It's not like what are they? Their net profit is probably $175 million on.
But that's
on
not
that.
what.
But that's not what
you're
it.
saying.
So it's based on retail sales. You need to have realistic retail sales, and I think you can raise money if you make sense.
Okay.
That's and I think a lot of people don't make sense.
Right.
They are putting in their decks just.
Do you want money from like consumer product companies or
so my
people
first
that have
so
done
I
this?
put so this is the way I did it. The first time I put in all, it was only my money. So I put in only my money. I built the product and I had it in a state before I said I want to just go to friends.
You funded it with that check you sold.
I funded it by basically saying, I'm not selling you an idea. I'm selling to friends. So I got to say, like, this is good. I built this thing.
Right.
Then I basically sold it to just friends. And, I think there's obviously a greater, my wife is always like, why would you do the friends thing? Like, it seems like there's a greater responsibility. It's like, well, because people know that I live this and like, it's going to be fun when we make it. You have to have the entrepreneurial
She's like,
brain.
Darren, we're not going to be able to go out to dinner with them anymore.
Exactly.
This doesn't work.
Well, that actually happened with Bitcoin people. I couldn't go out to dinner with people who were deep into Bitcoin because it was like,
I still won't.
Your aunt on, who was selling Herbalife. I'm like, I can't go out with that guy.
Can't listen to that shit anymore.
It's like you're telling me exactly when the halving cycles are. But if you know exactly when, everyone knows exactly when. And like, where in Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations did we say this is so everything is predictable?
But you got friends involved.
I got friends involved, but
working.
now it's to the point where I probably would want. We are raising again, and I probably want either a little institutional money or someone who, like a Gallo, who, as long as I don't give up too much upside, right? That's the other issue now, because then they come in and they say, if you're at this in sales, it unlocks this option for us to buy it at X.
Right. Okay.
And so that's always a consideration.
Well, dude, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
This is I haven't tasted it before. I know you sent a few to a friend of mine, and I've been looking forward to trying these. I absolutely love them.
Thank you.
When do you think you will be in New York? 5 years or 2 years?
No. Probably 6 to 8 months.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's in the works.
Yeah.
All right. Well done. Hey, we're gonna wrap the show. Did you have fun today?
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Love you guys.
Happy
to be 100.
Thanks,
Do I get
man.
a shirt or a certificate?
100% you do. This is the part of the show where we leave people with a favorite, something you're watching, listening to, reading, anything that you think the audience should check out. And we'll start with you if you have something in mind.
Threads?
Let's get into it.
No.
How popular are you on Threads so far? Are you like?
No, I got like
winning yet?
8,000 followers. No, it's
Am I beating you?
probably.
No, I don't think so. You're
But
good at this stuff.
It's no. I just don't dismiss it. Just go into it for a couple days. I can't believe how many people are like doubt. I think Elon gave Zuckerberg the window to do things here. I think, what they did with Instagram stories and how they shot down Snapchat like immediately by copying them.
Killed them. Yeah.
Killed them. I
Wait,
think
hold on? You think that most people doubt this? Because I'm having the opposite.
right. Well, right now there's a
impression.
lot of people who say, there's no chronological time. My news people are saying no chronological timeline.
That's annoying.
No,
They'll have it.
No, they'll have it
Yeah.
in a second. There's not hundreds of people working on this.
Journalists love Twitter,
And,
though,
of course,
in general.
they do.
By the way, how many employees from Twitter did they poach over the last 6 months?
Well, they didn't poach. They
fired them
they were
all.
lying on the
Yeah,
floor,
yeah.
and they picked them up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think there's just what there was in the last 24 hours was just a lot of momentum on just people thinking that there's a nice platform that people are rooting for each other.
I grabbed one of your threads.
Which is
You threaded. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah,
He
I don't
threaded.
know.
He stitched.
So Darren stitched. Time it took to reach 10 million users. Facebook, 852 days. Twitter, 780. Instagram, 355. Clubhouse, 347. Google Plus, 16. And Threads, 7 hours.
7 hours to 10
And
million.
people go, well, that's because they have the Instagram. I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, they
Okay,
did.
yeah,
They do.
exactly,
That's what they
yeah.
did. Yeah.
Is that your best
Yeah.
thread? Is that your best threaded?
Oh,
thing
he
so
tweeted
far?
that too.
I tweeted it too. Yeah.
Okay, I grabbed it from Threads.
I
but-
was worried Elon was going to kick me off, but
So here's the smart things that Zuckerberg did. If you were verified on Instagram, you're automatically
Yes.
verified on
Yes.
Genius. That's
meanwhile,
one.
Elon went the other way, which said anyone can be
The
verified
stupidest
as
thing I've
long
ever
as you're
seen.
paid. So now trolls are verified.
So now it
which
means nothing.
it means nothing, and it actually means less.
It's actually worse. It's a bigger red
worse.
flag.
Right.
He turned the blue check into like either this guy's a loser who's paying
Right.
for Twitter,
Right.
or this guy's not who they say they are. It's
Crazy.
Like either way, it's not good. Okay, so I thought they did that really well. The other thing is, I mean, this could change people are on their best behavior today on Threads because like the first day of school. Everyone's wearing their nicest shit
Right. If they
that
get
their mom
negative.
laid out for them. But
I did
also,
block someone already.
But also, your friends and family are there because they're there on Instagram.
Right.
So the built-in audience,
Correct.
That social graph.
It breeds what Instagram has bred, which is the feel good. We're all together. Let's boost you up. Versus Instagram, versus Twitter, which is let's punch you in the face.
And no one knows who I am. I'm going to be the biggest fucking fire-breathing dragon I could be.
Right.
And nobody I know in the real world is going to see me behaving like this.
Exactly.
This is not that. So it might become that.
I haven't said that's true. That's a good point.
So those are the two things. But I'm into it. I'm seeing what happens.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've been on one of these things. To be honest, I've been on Instagram the whole time, but I haven't tweeted in 3 years.
But it's hard to recreate the
I know
magic.
that.
It's hard to recreate the magic of social media. It's not the
I
same.
found that out on vacation when I saw you. I didn't know you hadn't tweeted in 3
Yeah,
years.
I left Memorial Day weekend during COVID, and I never came back. I probably put up like 10 tweets
That's amazing.
since then. So, but I'll give this a shot. Michael, you got a favorite for us today?
Yeah, King of Collectibles was fun. It's like modern porn
It is
Pawn
fun.
Stars.
Yeah, and the guy who directed it, the producer,
did a
did
good
Pawn
job.
Stars. So
Oh,
that's
yeah?
why it looked like it.
Oh, they did
Yeah.
a good job. It was fun.
I
What?
don't like saying porn. Porn.
Porn stars.
What did
As
I
a
say?
Long
I said
Island
Pawn
guy, I
Stars.
do not like saying porn because people think it's porn. And
Porn stars.
Dude, I f***ing said Pawn Stars.
No, I know you said the right thing. Okay.
Pornhub.
Pornhub.
It's where there's all these.
I wanted to give a shout out to that pizza place we went to last week. Was that last week or
Where
was
did
it
we
the
go?
week before?
Oh, that was good.
How good was that? Don McKelly?
Oh,
Am I saying it right?
yeah. Don
What did we get that
Don
was so-
McKelly is the famous place in Naples.
So they opened in Manhattan.
I went to it in Naples. Horrible.
Not good.
Not good.
Why? Too
Americans
touristy?
Americans make better pizza. I don't like this non-sodium cheese and this
Okay.
I like,
Go to the one here. It's litty.
And the pasta was good.
The pasta was better than the pizza.
So
I thought.
Don McKelly in Naples, you get 5 pizzas for $10. The $2 a pizza.
God.
And you wait an hour and a half. And I went to Naples just for that. And then
You must have been disappointed. Anyway, the one in Manhattan, I think, opened in January. We got over there last week for the
was good.
first time. I thought it was really good. I want to go back already. All right, Duncan, do we have anything we need to do for our 100th anniversary, or are we good to roll out?
I think we're good.
Can you believe we've done this 100 times?
Hard to believe.
John?
Just getting started.
Huh? So you guys have been here the entire time. Has Nicole been here for all 100 shows? Pretty close? I think she probably
Probably
wandered
in the
some-
20s.
Yeah. All right. Well, on behalf of the listeners and on behalf of Michael and I, just want to say thank you, John, Duncan, Nicole, recently Rob, Tucker. Thanks for all your work this summer. Sean, I know you're out there listening. Thank you. Michael and I don't make the show by ourselves. I know you guys know that. All of you have done an amazing job bringing this thing to life, and we're crushing it, and it's because of your hard work. So thank you so much. Darren Rovell, ladies and gentlemen. Darren, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in. Really appreciate it. And all right, guys, that's it for us this week. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Do the liking and the subscribing and all
Where
the
do people
stuff.
get this?
Kickstandcocktails.com. Come on
that
now.
was good. That was like a cappella.
Look at that.
Kickstandcocktails.com.
All right. Hey, you might have something there. All right. Thanks, Darren. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.